The Reckoning of Willow Creek. In the quiet of Willow Creek, a suburban haven nestled among the rolling hills of Northern California, the illusion of safety shattered one fateful night. Porch lights glowed like fireflies, and the soft hum of wind chimes filled the air. It was the kind of place where neighbors waved and kids rode bikes until dusk. But at 3:42 a.m., a siren's wail tore through the stillness, and for Ellen Harper, 8 months pregnant, the world turned upside down. What happened next would unravel a web of greed, expose a chilling conspiracy, and ignite a battle for justice that would leave a community forever changed. This is the story of a family pushed to the brink and the man who fought back with a force no one saw coming. Ellen stood trembling by her upstairs window, one hand cradling her belly, the other clutching her phone. Below, 3 men in dark tactical gear marched toward her modest 2-story home, its green shutters catching the moonlight. Their jackets bore the words HOA Enforcement in bold, reflective letters. They moved with military precision, too aggressive, too rehearsed. "Routine inspection, ma'am," one barked. "Open the door." Ellen's heart raced. The HOA didn't send armed men in the dead of night. She bolted the door, dialed 911, but the line was dead. "I'm recording," she shouted, aiming her phone at them. "You're trespassing." The tallest man glanced at the security camera above the porch, signaled with 2 fingers, and the feed cut to static. 40 miles away, in a private training facility, Ellen's husband, Tom Harper, a retired Delta Force operative, watched the blackout on his phone. A backup camera, hidden in a lantern he'd installed without telling Ellen, flickered on. He saw her terrified face, heard her scream as the men breached the front door. One kicked it open, charging upstairs. Ellen stumbled back, barricading the bedroom door with a chair. It splintered under a single blow. "Please, just go," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "I called the real police." The lead intruder, his face hidden by a black mask, stepped forward. "We are the police, ma'am," he said coldly, then pushed her with deliberate force. Ellen's scream pierced the night as she fell over the balcony railing. Tom's hands shook not with fear, but with a cold, focused fury. He grabbed his go bag, whispered into his comms, "Emergency evac, code gray, medical on standby," and became the soldier he swore he'd left behind. Ellen survived by a miracle. A neighbor's awning broke her fall, sparing her life, but not her pain. Paramedics found her crumpled on a collapsed deck chair, murmuring, "Baby," as her pulse faded. At County General, surgeons battled to save her and her unborn child, who was in distress from internal bleeding and broken ribs. Tom landed on the hospital roof via helicopter, his face like stone. In the surgical waiting area, he stared at an ultrasound screen, the faint heartbeat of his son flickering like a fragile star. Ellen lay pale in recovery, tubes snaking from her arms. He knelt beside her, gripping her hand, whispering, "I've got you." To the detective behind him, he asked, "Who were they?" The answer, fake IDs, unregistered plates, no HOA records. Tom's jaw clenched. This wasn't random, it was too precise. He began digging, pulling footage, HOA emails, and permits. Patterns emerged, missing delivery logs, shell companies, and new construction tied to a firm called Prime Vista Realty. It wasn't about money, it was a warning. Tom didn't act on rage, he acted on certainty. After bringing Ellen home under private security, he watched Willow Creek like a chessboard. A neighbor, Greg Larson, raised suspicion with a forced smile and a comment about marketable neighborhoods, hinting at disdain for military types like Tom. That night, Tom hacked Prime Vista's servers, finding a file labeled Target H472, his address, Ellen's pregnancy, and the chilling word, remove. The attack was a scheduled task, part of a scheme to force out families for profit. At 2:59 a.m., the same van returned. Tom, perched on a neighbor's roof, tracked 3 intruders through thermal imaging. As one reached for the balcony, Tom fired a suppressed shot, hitting the man's wrist. Another grazed a thigh, then a shoulder. The third tried to flee but tripped into a recycling bin, trapped upside down. Tom descended, weapon drawn, moving like a shadow. "Zone secured," he said into his comms. Police arrived, cuffing the whimpering suspects. Tom wiped blood from his forearm and muttered, "Never again." A month later, Ellen gave birth to their son, Nathan, a strong boy with his mother's eyes. At a community ceremony, Tom spoke to students, his words heavy with truth. When a teen asked why he didn't finish the attackers, he said, "Justice isn't cruelty. It's ending cycles, not feeding them. Courage isn't a trigger, it's my wife smiling at our son, grateful he's breathing." The room fell silent, respect replacing applause. The investigation, sparked by Tom's evidence, dismantled Prime Vista. The FBI traced wire transfers and offshore accounts, exposing a network that targeted vulnerable families, elderly, veterans, single parents through fake HOA violations and intimidation. 24 cases were confirmed, many more suspected. In court, Tom's testimony, backed by Ellen's fall on video, left no doubt. 7 men were convicted, sentenced from 20 years to life. Prime Vista's assets were seized, and displaced families returned home. In Willow Creek, the Ellen Harper Community Protection Center rose a modest building offering legal aid, safety workshops, and a tech lab to secure homes. Its stone entrance bore 3 lines. When systems fall silent, family speaks. When fear rises, strength emerges. When life is threatened, we rise. Tom walked its halls, teaching, fixing doors, answering calls. He wasn't a warrior anymore, was a builder, crafting a world where his son could grow up safe. One autumn day, in a park where orange leaves fell, a man approached Tom. "They left a note on our car," he said, voice low. "Told my wife to move out, or something unfortunate would happen." Tom looked at Nathan, toddling in the sandbox, then met the man's eyes. "No one should feel hunted in their home," he said. "We're not victims. We're the shield now." The park stayed quiet, but a resolve took root. Willow Creek wasn't perfect, but it was stronger. Tom's fight wasn't for vengeance, it was for a home where Nathan's laughter could echo, free from fear. The center stood as a testament. When good people rise, even the darkest lies crumble. What do you think? Should Tom have ended the attackers, or was his restraint true justice? How would you face injustice in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate violence, accountability, and what it means to protect those we love.